And welcome back, everybody, to the TV show. I'm Jay Black, joined as always by Rhea Hughes and the author of Loud, Angelo Cataldi. You see that in the back, angelocataldi.com. Get that book, ladies and gentlemen.
I
It's
actually have a copy of your book, Angelo, because one of the guys who does the video for the Phillies when they're at the Mets games is a massive fan, so I have to get it to you to sign.
I would be happy to do that. My wife currently is listening to me on audiobook.
Oh, that's
she can't
Why?
get enough of me 24/7. She needs even the extra. So she's in the car and I'm in there telling her the story.
Well, we got some fan mail. Did you see the fan mail I sent to you?
I did. I did.
Said,
it was very interesting, but they're still wrong about Unfrosted.
Well, they're wrong about Unfrosted, but they are right that Rhea needs to write a book. Get that book out, Rhea.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
It's going to be great. I promise you it's going to be great.
You can send us fan mail. We'll go over this at the end of the show as well, but there's a link right in your podcast app that says send us fan mail. If you click it, it goes directly to us immediately. So if you have anything that you hear today that you want to talk about, please let us know about it. And let's just jump into a show that I wanted to talk about on our show, and I never really got around to it because it's just a regular network show that I happen to think was very good. It's a show called So Help Me Todd. Have either of you seen So Help Me Todd on CBS?
I remember seeing the trailers for it and thought it looked interesting, but I never got around to it.
No.
It's very much in that psych world of interesting detective in an interesting situation. In this case, he works for his mom, who is a lawyer, and he's an investigator for the lawyer for the law firm. And he's a screw up, and his sister's kind of a screw up, and his brother's kind of a screw up. And it's just light and airy. And my wife got into it. It's 26 episodes, and they canceled it at the end of this season, even though it ended on a cliffhanger. And the creator of the show has been doing a bunch of interviews, and he basically said that the decision to cancel it came far after the decision to end on a cliffhanger. And they were told by the network, hey, no problem, end on a cliffhanger. You're probably going to be renewed. And then, of course, they weren't renewed. So what he decided to do was go out and tell everybody what would have happened in season 3. And I got to be honest, I love this. This makes me so happy that I get to know how it ends, because there have been so many shows over the course of my life that got canceled that I wondered what would happen next. It's so nice that the creator came out and told me. Angela, you're shaking your head. You disagree with this.
Because I'm trying to figure out who's a bigger moron, the showrunner of So Help Me Todd or you. I can't figure out which one. All right, first of all, oh, great, he's going to tell me. I read the interview where he talked about how we had no idea.
Right.
Well, geez, you also mentioned in the interview you were one of the lowest rated TV shows on CBS. Well, oh, normally that's not a sign. Here's what you need to do, Jay. When you're doing a series, what you owe to the fans of that series, to make an ending at the end of each season that would serve as the series ending if necessary. It's the reason I love Wentworth. They did it 7 times. You understand? They had endings that were so spectacular. You said to yourself, well, if that's the end, it was amazing. No, this. Oh, he told you how it's going to end? Oh, that's exciting. Really? That's the way you want to hear how a show ended? The guy tells, here's what would have happened?
See, and Jen, I think you mentioned this in the email we talked about, like, what if somebody else decided to pick them up?
Right. That was my wife's big comment, was that we live in a world where there's a lot of streamers that could have came in and picked it up.
Does that happen a lot? Has a show gotten picked up after being canceled by a streamer?
Off the top of my head, I can't think of a situation where a streamer picked it up. I know like Taxi was on NBC for a number of years, and then the last season went to ABC. I mean, that's happened a lot where a new network will come in, but you know, there's also a situation that could happen like in Suits, where a show like this, which is very light and buttery, gets picked up because people go, I just want to spend some time with likable characters, and then it starts to get very popular in a streaming world. So that's entirely possible. So yeah, he might be shooting himself in the foot
Yeah.
by saying that, I can't.
Let me prove, Jay, let me prove to you this is the dumbest way to end the series. I think we would all agree the most talked about ending in history of television is The Sopranos, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So years go by, and David Chase sits down and does an interview with Alan Sepinwall.
Yeah, from
And
New York.
it turns into a book called The Sopranos Sessions. By accident, David Chase reveals that Tony Soprano was shot and killed in the episode that went to black, right? So we got the ending. We were told how it actually ended. Did that satisfy anyone?
That he told it?
No, that he revealed the ending, like this dummy who did So Help Me Todd. So did that bring closure to one human being who loved that show?
Did you like the ending, Ange? I can't remember.
No, I did not like the
Oh,
ending.
okay.
Revealing it that way. No, I wanted a hail of gunfire. I was every other episode.
It should have ended like that.
But that's what. But here's the thing. Jay is trying to say, well, at least the guy told me the ending of So Help Me Todd, right? That doesn't do any good to anyone. If it's not actually filmed, it doesn't create any closure.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. No, you know what it is? It's just I've been burned by like a bunch of shows. Most tellingly, Alf, when I was a young boy. Alf season 4 ended on a cliffhanger where the government was going to get Alf. And then it ended and they canceled the show. There was no season 5. And young Jay was very upset. What happened to Alf? I wanted to know. And if there was a chance to read about what happened to Alf next, I would have taken it then. So it's just when I get invested in something, I want to know how it ends, even if it's told secondhand. But I see your point. You're right. I think that David Chase actually hurt himself by explaining what happened at the end there.
Look, I just experienced this with a show on Max called Hacks, right? It's a show about stand-up comic based on Joan Rivers. Gene Smart plays the older comic.
Gene Smart is great, by the way. I'd just like to say that.
It's a great show. And they ended it in a way that either ends it or it comes back. And it works either way. That's what a smart showrunner does. That is not what this moron did. It is not acceptable to me. It's not acceptable.
I didn't even think of it from that angle. That is the smart way to look at it. Yes, end on a not a cliffhanger. End on a way that it could be the series finale. That's a very smart way of doing it. I wanted to switch gears here and talk about somebody who's like relatively like in my weird circle because my writing partner is Brian Herzlinger, who's on your show, Angelo. He did My Date with Drew in 2005-ish.
Good show.
And it was a documentary with him trying to get a date with Drew Barrymore. Morgan Spurlock was out at about the same time, who did this documentary called Super Size Me. And I never got to meet Morgan, but it was weird because I know Brian and Morgan were sort of lumped together in this like new documentarian kind of press about this sort of stuff. Well, Morgan died last week, young, 52, 53.
Yeah, he was young, yeah.
And, it was interesting that he died when he did, because there was a bunch of like YouTube chatter and Reddit chatter and Twitter chatter about Morgan Spurlock and sort of the fast ones that he pulled during the creation of Super Size Me. Like, for instance, there's that scene where the doctor comes in and goes, "You have the liver of an alcoholic." And Morgan Spurlock goes, "I guess it's all the McDonald's." And it turns out that he was an alcoholic, so like stuff that maybe should be revealed when you're doing a documentary. But, Rhea, did you see Super Size Me when it came out? What did you think of it? And, what does it...
I remember seeing some episodes of it, but my question is, how did McDonald's not sue the crap out of him? That, if he was in fact an alcoholic and, it wasn't the McDonald's food, because I grew up on McDonald's food, and my liver is this way because of this, not because of McDonald's. So, I'm just curious how they were able to get away, how like McDonald's didn't come after him, because I would have.
Yeah, Rhea, the idea that these super powerful corporations smite you if you hurt them kind of is undone by the fact that McDonald's didn't have a hit crew out to take Morgan Spurlock out.
All right, hold on. Guys, the whole premise of Super Size Me, which was a great documentary, it was a goof. It wasn't real. No one was debating before Morgan Spurlock did that documentary whether it was a good health regimen to eat McDonald's for 30 straight days, all 3 meals. Nobody thought it was, all right? The whole thing was presented as entertainment, not actual information. And it did herald a whole new sphere of the kind of things that we see in documentaries now. This personal voyage, but it's like with your guy, what's his name, Helziger? He wasn't going to get a date with Drew Barrymore. Yeah, everyone knew that. Not that he isn't worthy of it. It wasn't going to happen, right? Yeah. It's a fun story that's entertainment. The reason McDonald's didn't sue them, Rhea, is because it wasn't serious. It didn't put him on the map.
A documentary,
right?
That's more satire.
Yes, exactly. And he has a right in a satire way to make fun of McDonald's without them suing him. And I don't think, I'd be shocked if anybody watched Super Size Me and went, well, that's it. I had no idea McDonald's wasn't health food.
You're apparently not on Twitter, Angelo. Yeah, some people would believe that.
All right. You know what? Those people, it's hard to get across what the message is.
Well, I have a personal.
I thought he was brilliant. I thought he sent us in a whole new direction with documentaries. And I am devastated that he died so young, because it was ironic. The first thing I thought of when I heard it, Jay, was
McDonald's.
They're not going to blame this on McDonald's.
I'll just say I have a personal vendetta against them because I like the supersized ones. They got rid of them after that. I like when they said, "Do you want to supersize it?" I always said yes, supersize it. And now that he's gone,
home.
Yeah. I want bigger fries. I want the fries the size of my head. Come on. So I saw like a little blurb when I was doing the research for the show about Michael Richards, another guy that at the beginning of this century sort of disappeared from public life. He had a meltdown on stage where he used the N-word repeatedly to a group of hecklers, and he tried to go on David Letterman to apologize. I don't know if you remember that apology. Seinfeld was there, and they were laughing at him, and Seinfeld was like, "It's not funny. Don't laugh. I don't know why you're laughing." And other than the Larry David Curb Your Enthusiasm reunion that he did, I have not seen Michael Richards at all. Guy obviously has a ton of money. I mean, he was getting paid a ton to be on Seinfeld, and that show has gone into residuals. He's got a new book out. And he's going to be doing a tour with this book where he's talking about his life. I just wanted to bring up Michael Richards because I think he's a brilliant comic actor. And I honestly believe, and I might be stupid about this, I honestly believe of anybody that's ever messed up and was contrite about it, I believe him that he felt awful about this, in part because he disappeared for 20 years and never tried to do a half-hearted, like, here, I'm back, I'm redeemed now. So 20 years later, does he have a shot of being redeemed? Do you believe him? Do you think he's contrite? Should he be redeemed? Angela, I see you shaking your head.
He's not. Look, Rhea could tell you this. The last few years on our show, I lived in fear of the cancel culture, both for something stupid I would say on the show and things I had said previously that would have gotten me fired.
Right.
Because if you took some of the stuff I said the first decade I was on WIP and played it on the third decade, people would say, this guy can't continue. He's a psych. Even though I adjusted with the times and Rhea helped me along the way. There's a video up of him using horrific terms.
Yeah.
And it's coming from a dark place inside of him. All right. This is not a weak moment. To me, it is, you can't react that way in public ever and redeem yourself. I understand. I agree with you on his brilliance. And I know how hard they tried afterwards to Jerry Seinfeld. People try to get him back into the mainstream. No, not for me. I can't. That comes from something inside. That isn't something you don't have. And then he had a hidden racism in him at the time that he did what he did. And he's not going to come back from it. The book may do interesting. I'll probably want to read it, but he's not coming back. It's over.
Well, here's the problem is, and I agree with Angelo. The word, if you're using that word, and I don't want to say he used it casually, he was using it in anger repeatedly in that video shown. It's a word you've used. Okay, it's not a word I've ever used, or like,
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just, you just don't do it. I mean, there's just certain things, you don't say. And I did read an interview, just look, he's now blaming, so in the book, he claims he found out as an 18-year-old that his conception was the result of a sexual assault of his mother. And that was back in the days, when abortion wasn't legal. And because I was shocked to find out he's 74 and that he harbors all this bitterness because of that. I feel like he's trying to use as an excuse. You can
100%.
harbor a lot of bitterness about everything, but that doesn't excuse what you did that night.
So
100%.
I'll just say this, and maybe I'm too forgiving, but it's not like he's one of these guys that disappeared for 18 months and said, I went to therapy, I'm better now. 20 years is a long time to deal with your demons. And if he did a legitimate job of saying, like, I went through therapy, I talked this out, I figured out that I was messed up. I just say the amount of time between when he disappeared and when he reappeared gives me some hope that he did the work. And I always figure if somebody does the work, I'll give him another shot. And
if he did, like, if you're right, the 18 years goes to show that he met, but he also had the money to disappear for 18 years.
That's a good point. It's easy to
Oh,
do when
that's
you're
a
rich.
great point. And still getting that money.
Yeah.
Jay, I just want to stop this podcast for a second here to point out that in the last 3 or 4 weeks, I don't think I've agreed with one thing you've said.
I've noticed that, Angelo. It's really upsetting.
It's becoming alarming, not to me, but to my wondering about how your brain is working. And I see on our schedule here at the end, you're going to recommend another stupid movie.
I'm going to recommend a great movie.
The one thing this podcast is doing, I think, is really polarizing our positions on things. And I want people to pay attention to that as we move forward, because there's very little area of agreement anymore. And I'm not sure why that has happened.
You know what, Angela? I got something that all three of us agree on. How about this? That Steven Singer, our sponsor, is one of the best people on this planet and a place where you need to go to get jewelry. Am I right about that, Angelo?
Oh, here's the thing. Rhea could tell you, man, one of the funniest and greatest promotions we ever did was right this time of the year, the world's largest bubble bath. And the reason we did it end of May, early June, was because that's when lots of guys went in to buy their engagement rings. Yep. And guys know nothing about diamonds. And that is why I've always emphasized to people, go to a jeweler understands it, can explain it to you, and can be fair with you. And that's one man, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, Steven Singer. Rhea, am I right about the bubble bath?
The bubble bath was insane, Jay. We would literally fill up the entire jewelry store with bubble baths. It was I don't still know how Steven did it, but it was crazy. But I want you to know, Angelo and Jay and Steven, I am training my 14-year-old properly. He's got a girlfriend now for about 6 months, and her birthday is coming up at the end of June. And I said, this is the one thing when people think about going to a jewelry store, I gotta spend thousands of dollars. You don't. Angela, how many times at Valentine's Day would Steven offer a beautiful necklace that was like $160? So I said to Clark,
You're right.
We're gonna go in, we're gonna pick out something simple and pretty, and it's not gonna break your, almost 15-year-old bank, but I'm gonna get him started right on birthdays for your love. Get her a piece of jewelry.
And let me just say, Steven's great on every single thing. I've never felt that. I've never got a complaint all the years I represented him. But man, you're looking for the ring. He's the guy. Other
Absolutely.
corner bake the walnut. He's the guy.
And you can go to IHateStevenSinger.com right now. There's a link right underneath our fan mail link. Send us some fan mail to tell me that I'm right about half the stuff I say. And also check out our sponsor, Steven Singer. Love having him on board. And Rhea, just real fast about the girlfriend thing. My son just got a girlfriend. He's moved from
Yay!
dating to official girlfriend. And at the Memorial Day party, he disappeared downstairs with the girlfriend. And his cousin looks around and goes, "Where's Keenan and the girl?" And I said, "I think he's in the basement." And he goes, "Oh my God, I hope they're not playing Call of Duty without me." And I was like, "I don't think that's what they're doing. I don't think you have
But
to
they're
worry."
not.
I mean, if you want to call it Call of Duty, fine.
Duty.
Call of
16-year-old kid, it's the Call of Duty.
It's called, yeah. His little cousin was mad, like he's playing Call of Duty down there. Yeah, no, he's playing something. All right, let's switch over to another thing Angela and I agree on, the best segment of the show, the British segment with Rhea Hughes. What do you got for us this week, Rhea?
So it's an Australian show, but it's got a little British in it. It's called the Royal Flying Doctor Service, available on Prime. So basically, it's this doctor from London decides to go join this flying doctor service. What it is in Australia, the Outback. We're all familiar with the Outback,
Yeah.
which is about as rural as you can get. Well, there are people who live there who have no access to doctors, nurses, dentists, and they get into accidents. And basically, the doctor's flying service flies to these places, sometimes performing major surgeries on the airplane. So that's a really cool aspect. So this female doctor, she's very easy on the eyes. It's Emma Hamilton, stars as Dr. Eliza Harrod. Each kind of episode kind of stands alone, but they're building relationships. There's a romance in there. There's really interesting characters. The landscape of the Outback, I find beautiful, even though it's barren, and it's just a real, like, you're driving and flying for hundreds of miles and there's nothing there and you got to go save somebody. So I really like it. There is going to be, here's how I can describe it. ER on a plane.
That's cool.
I'm talking a puddle jumper plane.
Right.
And this has actually been in the works since 1926. They've been doing it. So it's really cool. I really like it. It's light. There is a little bit of tragedy early on, but it's a show I just enjoy watching. And like I said, Emma Hamilton is very easy on the eyes, and I think people will enjoy it.
The accent goes a long way.
It does.
does.
She's the typical English Rose of what you think of.
Gotcha. All right. So that's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
And do you have a teen selection this week? Was he playing Call of Duty in the basement too, Rhea?
The girlfriend is coming over today, so I'm going to be careful on what they're playing down in the basement. But so we're driving home from the shore Monday morning, and Clark's going on about his favorite actors. He's looking forward to Deadpool because he loves Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
So I just said to him, I said, "Have you ever seen The Proposal?" And he goes, "No." I said, "Look up the trailer for it and see if you're interested." He's dying laughing. We wind up watching it on Monday. That kid laughed. I mean, it's, Ryan Reynolds, Sandra Bullock, Betty White is in it. Yeah. I was shocked on Rotten Tomatoes that critics gave it a 45% rating. Audience gave it better at 68%. I think it's a classic, enjoyable, comedic rom-com. Great chemistry between Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds. Betty White's fantastic. He literally could not stop laughing the entire movie. So
was that the one where she needs him to pretend?
Yeah. So she's his boss from Canada, and she's going to get thrown out of the country because her visa expires.
Gotcha.
Expires. So she blackmails him to marrying him, but she has to go to his parents' house in Alaska for the weekend for his grandmom's 90th birthday. And she meets the family, and all kinds of hilarity ensues. But it's a great rom-com. I don't know why it didn't get highly rated. I've seen it several times. Clark loved it.
I will be in Alaska next week, and I look exactly like Ryan Reynolds. So it's a very close thing. I'll be living
exactly.
That Angela, what do you got for us this week?
That's another thing I don't agree with you about, Jay. First of all, I had a dry week, so I just want to recap what I spent my week watching TV with. I'm loving the next season, season 3 of Welcome to Wrexham on Hulu. Ryan Reynolds. It's a terrific story of how famous Hollywood people spent their money and took a little hamlet in the outskirts of London, 4 hours from London, and made it famous. And how it's a tourist destination now, and it keeps going up levels in the soccer team, and it's great. It's a great story, and I'm in the middle of that season, loving it. Sugar, I wrapped up. It had the twists of all twists right near the end. But man, I just want to say it's really good. It's a good show. All 8 episodes are great on Apple Plus. Hacks, I mentioned on Max, is terrific. And I'm going to offer you one thing. This is weird. I've noticed this happening more and more. My son tells me over the weekend, he discovered a show that's been around a while on Apple called For All Mankind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he said, try it out. The pilot is amazing. So I watched the pilot, and he was right. It's a basic story about what would have happened if the Russians won the space war and got to the moon before we did. Yeah. And how the whole world would have been different in so many different ways. All right. And it is brilliantly done. It's about an hour and 10 minutes, and I was totally swept up in it. So I kept going. It's fine. They're filming a 5th season right now. Didn't hold up for me. It went in a whole weird direction. They made these incredible assumptions that I don't think would ever have happened.
How far did you get, Angelo? Because I stopped.
I got through the second one, and I went, no, I don't know. But I love the pilot. So if you want a great hour plus of recreating an era in the 60s and showing they took newsreels and changed them around. They got Richard Nixon giving speeches, and it sounds just like it's brilliantly done. I loved it. Now, if you want something that holds up the whole way for season 11/23/63 is the same premise based on a Stephen King movie. It is now free on Apple, and it is great. I mean, it is great. You watch it, right, Jay?
I've watched it. I read the book. I think they're both great.
I've watched it twice. That's how great it was. Because wow, near the end, when you find out the effect that they saved Kennedy in this thing, and then you find out what happened in the world if John F. Kennedy was still the president, and it's an amazing story. I fully recommend that. And if you're looking for a good hour of TV, For All Mankind, the pilot on Apple is terrific.
I don't want to spoil anything. I know you're not going to watch it, Angelo. I watched to the almost the final episode of the 2nd season. And I would love if you guys have watched this show to hit us up on the fan mail. There is a decision where one of the characters decides to have sex with another character. And it is the dumbest, grossest decision. It made no sense. And I looked at my wife. I was watching it with my wife, and I said, well, I'm out. And she was like, me too. And that was it, because it totally undermined everything that the show was doing. I was out. Couldn't do it. Could not do it.
The shark. That's called jumping the shark. And it happens a lot. And a lot of times, the only thing good about a series is the pilot. And boy, that pilot is great.
Studio 60 is a great example of that. Studio 60 was the best pilot maybe I've ever seen.
You're right.
The show was not that great. All right, let me finish up on something Angelo was criticizing me for before the show started. He is wrong, and I am fully 100% sure that the audience will agree with me on this. I saw Furiosa in the theater this weekend with my son and my brother-in-law. I absolutely adored it. It was not as good as Fury Road, but then how could it be? Because Fury Road is a top 10 all-timer of a movie. Phenomenal 2-hour chase scene, nothing but action. Wonderful. Furiosa is a little bit of a it's a departure from that, because you can't really follow it up that way, but it fleshes out the world building that Fury Road starts. Chris Hemsworth, if he doesn't get at least a nomination for Best Supporting, I will be upset, because he was great. Anya Taylor-Joy was only in it for a half of the movie, but she was really good as well. The little girl whose name escapes me, who plays Anya Taylor-Joy's character Furiosa as a child, was great. And they did this interesting thing where they very slightly changed her appearance using computers to look like Anya Taylor-Joy. And over the course of the movie, they kept changing it more and more so that by the time she becomes Anya Taylor-Joy, you're like, well, it makes sense. That's just who she grew into. It's great. Go see it in the theater. It didn't make enough money, just like The Fall Guy. I want to keep seeing big movies in the theater. Just go see it, guys. And George Miller, just keep giving him money until he dies, because every time
Jay,
it's great.
I don't want to disappoint you. I don't think there's virtually any chance that Chris Hemsworth will get nominated for a movie from Furiosa.
That's,
Right.
I don't mean
I
to
agree.
break your heart.
he is playing
I
a character
agree.
called Dementis, so the chances of
yes.
that.
Yeah.
This is
probably
how great this
slim.
movie is. Jay said you could actually watch it with no sound.
You can
And I
watch it with no dialogue. I said
I
no
went,
dialogue and
no
still follow.
dialogue, and I went, now that's intricate plotting.
I'm out.
That
It
is
works.
brilliant writing where you don't even need the dialogue, right?
It works, ladies and gentlemen. As hold on one
Jay,
second.
there's
Hold on
another
one
word
second.
for that.
Wait, hold on one second. I'll be right back. Hold on.
Jay is
Okay.
actually leaving in distress because we don't like any of his picks.
I'm recording downstairs and my Roomba turned on, so I didn't want that to get picked up. I had to turn off my Roomba.
That's great. Well,
Right,
let me review.
All right.
Wait, real quick before we go. There's a word for a movie that you can watch without sound where it's not important, Jay. It's called porn.
Sounds like
Oh,
Rhea's
yours, Ed.
seen it. All right, let me review. So Help Me Todd. You can watch the 2 seasons on CBS and Paramount Plus. And if you want to know how it ends, just email or get in touch with Jay and he'll tell you, because the guy told him. All right. If you want to read what really went on at the end of The Sopranos, read the book, The Sopranos Session. Super Size Me is available now on Prime and Peacock if you would like to see that brilliant documentary. If you want to see Kramer in all the seasons, Michael Richards, that's Seinfeld, and that's on Netflix, as is the awful Seinfeld movie Unfrosted. The Royal Flying Doctor Service is available on Amazon Prime. The Proposal is now on. We're getting teen suggestions now that are a little more sophisticated.
He's growing up, Angelo.
That's on Hulu. All right, I said check out Wrexham on Hulu, Sugar on Apple Plus, Hacks on Max Plus, and if you want a great pilot, watch For All Mankind on Apple Plus. And Jay is suggesting you get out of your chair and go to the theaters to see Furioso. Oh, and if you want to see a great twist on Redoing Time, 11/23/63 is available on Apple Plus.
Right, a lot of shows we cover. Nobody covers as much ground as
No.
we do in a half
Nobody.
time. Look at all the stuff we talked about. You can go to AngeloCataldi.com to get his book Loud. You can get it either as a book made of paper, or if you want to hear the dulcet tones of Angelo Cataldi whispering in your ear, you can get the audio book. You can also go to IHateStevenSinger.com to support our wonderful sponsor, Steven Singer. If you want to send us an email or a text message, honestly, there's a little button that says fan mail. Click on it. We read everything that you send. And I think you should tell Angelo that he's wrong and Furiosa is fantastic, because it is. We'll be back next week. I'll be in Alaska, and Rhea, you'll be in London next
I'll
week.
be on my way to London that night.
That
And
night.
I'll be on my couch.
Angelo's living the correct lifestyle. Please rate and review us on Apple. Let a friend know, and we'll see you soon.